So on this video, I'm going to talk through running tips for beginners. So the first one is footwear. There's lots of different footwear options available, and I'm talking running shoes. So you need to make sure you have a proper pair of running shoes. If you check out sportshoes.com, they've got lots of different shoes available on there with all the different brands you can possibly think of. But I'd recommend getting a pair of footwear that is suitable for running. If you're wearing a pair of shoes that are basketball shoes or football shoes that you wear on AstroTurf, that's not going to be good enough. You're going to get yourself injured. So as a beginner tip, get yourself a nice pair of running shoes. And the same thing goes for socks. You need to have a pair of running socks. A pair of normal socks that you pick up from a normal sports shop, a nice comfy pair that you sometimes maybe wear for tennis or going to the gym in, they're not appropriate for running. You need a pair of running socks. Run Through Kit have a fantastic pair of running socks that you can grab on their website, and they are great for running. I'm actually wearing a pair right now underneath here. I'm using them for just day-to-day stuff as well, but they are great for running. The second thing is hydration. It's something you might not even think about if you're not a runner. I haven't been for a run before, but making sure you're well hydrated is so important. And that means drinking before you go for your run, well in advance of your run itself. That doesn't mean guzzling a pint of water just before you set off, because you might end up getting a stitch. Hydration is important throughout the whole day. Food, not as important, as you'll be surprised. For doing your first run, it's good to have food and energy in your body, but generally your body has enough stores to be able to make you last if you're just going for a short run. But hydration is super important, especially in hot conditions. The next thing I recommend, next tip for beginners, is the distance. You've got to start small. You can't go off and do your first ever run over the half marathon distance or a marathon. You're going to get yourself really sore and get yourself injured. The best thing to do is start off small. Start off with a 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, 1K, 2K, 3K run. Measure that on your watch, on your phone, in your car, and make sure you start off nice and small. The fourth thing is terrain. You've got to make sure you pick the correct terrain. And for most people, the simplest thing would be to get out on the road, making sure you get out on a nice flat surface near your house that you can get back to your house pretty quickly if something goes wrong. Not saying it will do, but it's important to make sure you have the right terrain when you're just a beginner. If you're new to running and you haven't been for a run before, and then you go on a tough trail course or up a mountain, up a big hill, you might find yourself in trouble, and we don't want that. We want to make sure things are nice and easy so you can repeat things. So making sure you pick the right terrain when you first start out. The final thing is speed and pace. When you're running for the first time, you might not have that inert knowledge on how to actually run at a certain pace and how long you can run at that pace for. The best thing to do is stay nice and slow, stay nice and steady, stay and go at a pace where you can have a nice normal conversation. If you can have a conversation, you're running at a pace where your heart rate isn't too high. If you start to get to the point where you can't actually talk when you're running, the talk test, they call it a New Levels coaching. If you're not passing the talk test, you're running too hard, and therefore you're going to get tired and then eventually not be able to run the distance you want to do. So there are 5 really short tips on running for beginners. My name is Matt Woody Wood. You can find me on all the different channels, and Run Through is at runthrough.com.